Alright, so today I have the pleasure of reviewing the CAD E100SX. And this is the fifth installment of this microphone. Before you had the E100, the E100-2, the E100S, and the E100X, and now you finally have the E100SX. I've heard a lot about CAD and this series of microphones in particular, and always wanted to try one out, so a huge thank you to CAD for sending me this microphone for free to test out. But as always, this doesn't influence my review whatsoever. They didn't pay me to say anything. They don't get to see this video before I post it. So let's get into it. All right, what are the specifications of this microphone? This is an XLR supercardioid polar pattern microphone. Its frequency response is 20 Hz to 18,000 Hz. It has a low equivalent self noise of just 9.5 dBA. It has a high pass filter on the front of the mic that cuts at 100 Hz with a really gentle 6 dB slope, as well as a negative 10 dB pad. It'll run you around $200, which makes this a great affordable option for voice actors and content creators. All right, now let's get to some tests. All right, let's see how well this microphone handles plosives. Is P's resulting in plosives. All right, now let's test the proximity effect of the CAD E100SX. All right, now I'm about 6 feet away from the CAD E100SX. All right, now I'm about 3 feet away from the CAD E100SX. All right, now I'm about 6 inches away from the CAD E100SX. All right, now I'm right up on the CAD E100SX. I'm really curious to see how it handles the audio at those different distances, and if the bass response has significantly increased now that I'm right up on it. All right, and now I have the CAD E100SX boomed above me and out of frame, much like you would with a shotgun microphone. This microphone definitely wasn't designed to boom out of frame like this, but I wanted to give you an idea of what that sounds like, so here it is. Of course, now is when a plane decides to take off. All right, sorry about the microphone handling noise, but let's test out the polar pattern of this microphone. This is a supercardioid microphone, so it has an even tighter polar pattern than a cardioid microphone, but it is sensitive to some sounds in the back. Not as much, obviously, as the front, but some. So let's test this out, shall we? All right, so I'm speaking into the front of the CAD E100SX. I'm moving around to the side of the CAD E100SX. And now as I move around to the back of the CAD E100SX, it's probably rejecting me pretty well, but also kind of picking me up a little bit in the back. But now I get around to the other side of the CAD E100SX as I finally get around to the front, and that is the polar pattern test of the CAD E100SX. All right, and as always in this blind A/B test, tell me if you can tell which one of these microphones is the Rode NT1 and which one of these microphones is the CAD E100SX. All right, as always, here's the blind A/B test. Let me know if you can tell in this blind A/B test which microphone is the Rode NT1 and which microphone is the CAD E100SX. All right, so just like I said in the beginning of the video, I've always wanted to test out one of these microphones, or at least one of the microphones in this series of CAD microphones. And through my findings, I've actually really enjoyed the sound of the microphone. I'm always using the Rode NT1 because I just love the way it sounds. It's a relatively flat response microphone, and I think it's really pleasing on my voice. And honestly, it's the most recommended microphone that I recommend to other voice actors and content creators. So now it may just have a rival. I love the way the CAD microphone sounds, and through my tests, I found that the CAD microphone definitely has some more bottom end to it. But other than that, there's a lot of similarities, and most people wouldn't even be able to hear the difference other than the bottom end. And I'm really curious to see if you guys were able to tell which microphone was the Rode NT1 and which microphone was the CAD E100SX. So be honest, let me know in the comments, were you able to tell which one was which in the blind A/B test? All right, and this is what the CAD E100SX sounds like in an untreated environment. Obviously, this isn't ideal. I wouldn't recommend recording any videos or any audio in a space like this, but just to give you an idea of what it sounds like in an untreated environment. And now let's jump up to my acoustically treated booth to see how it sounds in there. All right, and this is what the CAD E100SX sounds like in an acoustically treated environment here in my closet. I have a ton of different acoustic methods in here to help treat this closet to make it sound as dead as it does, and this is what the CAD microphone sounds like in here. All right, so do I recommend this microphone? I definitely recommend this microphone for content creators and voice actors. It has a very pleasing sound with a relatively flat response, so this mic would absolutely work well in many different scenarios. So really the biggest difference between the CAD E100SX and the Rode NT1 was the CAD E100SX has more bottom end to it than the Rode NT1 does. Now, other than that, there really wasn't a big difference in the sound quality, or at least not that the majority of consumers would actually hear. But some of you may have noticed a slightly tighter sound due to the fact that this is a super cardioid polar pattern versus the Rode NT1 that has a standard cardioid polar pattern. So all that really means is this has a tighter pickup pattern, so it's not picking up as much around the front of the microphone as the standard cardioid pattern does. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be using this microphone for quite some time. I love the way it sounds in my voice. I really hope you found this video helpful, and if you'd like to improve your audio, go check out my courses over at audiodoctor.tech. And if you don't want to improve your audio, well, you know what they say.